You're welcome back to the How to Podcast series. It's Dave with you. Hope you're doing well. Hope your podcast is going well. If you haven't started yet, I'd love to help you. Howtopodcast.ca. And if you've been podcasting forever, or you've got 3 episodes, or even 1, let me know. I'd like to listen to your show. I'm always looking for another new podcast to fall in love with, and I'd love to fall in love with yours. And I won't know about it unless you tell me and tell others. So reach out to me, howtopodcast.ca. There's a SpeakPipe link. Leave me a message. Tell me the name of your show. What's it about? Who's your audience? Where can I find it? And leave me a voice message. I'll bring your message into the podcast so people can hear about your show. It's a great way to promote your podcast. And I would love to see more podcasters out there talking about their show in public and letting people know about it. And I would love to support you. So howtopodcast.ca. Please do that. The power of the pause. To make your podcast better, we're going to talk about enhancing your podcast communication by simply pausing. We're going to battle those nasty ums and ahs in the podcast today, everybody. We're also going to talk about the fact that, I think that podcasters are becoming lazier. I think they're using a lot of excuses to not make themselves better, and I'm going to probably have a little rant about it. I'm feeling one coming on. We'll see how it goes. But I think we need to become less lazy, more active, make better podcasts, become better humans. And it all happens one pause at a time. Here we go. So I love it's interesting how your social media prompts you with things that you're like, oh yeah, that's what I want to talk about. And this came in on TikTok. And I'm like, oh, okay, fine. And I'll bring the clip in and I'll put a link to it so you can go watch it yourself. But I love the conversation around ums and ahs. And this person that you're going to hear from is very adamant that ums and ahs are to be completely abolished from our language now. Would I go that far? Maybe not, because we all do it to some degree, some more than less. And yeah, but I want you to hear his comments, his thoughts on ums and ahs, and how the beautiful thing of just adding a pause can actually reduce and eliminate your dependence. That's the key word, dependence on your ums and ahs. So here's the clip that caught my attention. I'll play it for you, and then we're going to back in and talk about the power of the pause in your podcast. Here's the clip that caught my attention. Here you go.
You know what happens when you become very comfortable with the pause? All of your non-words and your filler words, meaning all the ums, the ahs, they all start to disappear. Because again, when we get uncomfortable, what do? We go, and these ums and ahs take so much away from your credibility, so much away from your authority. Remove them completely out of our language. It's like playing a beautiful piano song and then having a weird key in the middle. It's like imagine the entire keynote, every now and then I went, what? And then came back down to here. That's what an is to me, and when I hear it, it crushes my soul. Remove them from your speech. There's no need for them. This is an instrument. Play beautiful music.
So when he says this is your instrument, he's pointing to his throat, to your voice. This is your instrument. Play beautiful music. Oh, wow. Okay. And so I was doing some editing on an interview that I did for one of my other shows. I won't name it, so I don't want to call anybody out. But my guest was a complete machine. Yeah, I think I removed, no exaggeration, at least 200 ums, ahs, on and on and on and on. Now, this person, to their credit, this was their first time ever being recorded on a podcast. I made no mention in the recording. I did not want to call attention to it. And when I finished editing the podcast after a few hours, way more than I would normally do on an edit, I wanted them to sound clear and concise. What I found in the editing process was, had I not removed the excessive amount of ums in this particular episode, I think my audience would have gotten exhausted. Once you focus in on something, you're looking for it, you're anticipating it. And for somebody that used a lot of ums and ahs, I was getting exhausted hearing them as an editor. And I can almost, because I edit in Audacity so I can see the wave file, so that looks like mountains and peaks and valleys. There's no words. It's not Descript. It's actually an audio editor designed for audio editing. My bias is showing. When I look at it, I can actually visually, without even listening, I can see on my screen what an looks like, in particular for this guest. And I can see the pattern. And it's almost like it was just every few words, there was an Every time there was a pause where he would be thinking in real time in response to a question, there was an And there was a lot of these, just so many. And I was going through like with a knife, like a surgeon, cutting off and cutting out every single one that I could that wasn't attached to a word. When somebody goes, and then, and so, those words are connected, and those ums are really hard to take away without making it too abrupt. But when it's a standalone with nothing around it but fields and fields of grass, and here's this one sitting there ready to be picked and harvested, I go in and whoosh, out it goes. And like I said, several hundred of these in one 45-minute conversation. It was exhausting to edit. And in that, I'm like, I'm going to go there. Yep, I am. Okay, well, I have a rant for you based on what I'm hearing in podcasting. And I'm like, people, can we not be better? Okay, all right, well, here it is. 1 second.
And now, it is time for Dave to share a most excellent rant on something that he just won't stop talking about. Please allow Dave to share his thoughts on this particular subject so that his glorious wife Jennifer may have a moment of rest from Dave going on and on about this topic. Here is Dave and his rant for this week.
Okay, all right, well, here it is. Here's my rant, and I thank you for the opportunity to share this rant and get this off my chest because, oh my gosh, how quickly we are falling into this hole of I don't edit my show. Okay. No hate here, no disrespect to you. I'm sure that you are perfect and every single word that you've ever said has been perfect. I'm sure you've never gone off on a tangent like this. And I'm sure you've never got distracted. I'm sure every single thing you do is perfection. And if that's you, you don't need this podcast. So you can be dismissed. Out you go. The rest of us, we need to edit. And what I'm hearing is people are telling podcasters and people in the space, just go live. Just go live, everybody. If you go live, then you just release it because it shows you my warts and all, it shows you I'm human. It also shows you and shows others that you don't really care about your audience. You don't really care about how you sound. You don't care that you've lost us 20 times in the conversation because you've gone off on some random diatribe about something that means nothing to the show. And your ums and ahs and your stammers and your mispronunciations of words, you were butchering the English language, and you think that you're just perfect. Oh my gosh, look at you with your little mic. You're so perfect. No, you're not. Nobody is. None of us are. We're all like at different stages of our journey. We're all trying to get better. And if you could just take a moment to do some edits, to make yourself better. Had I not edited that podcast with that guest, you would have stopped listening. You would have said, I've had enough of this. And I would have moved on to something else. Now, is a live podcast thing a great idea? Sure. If you have time and you don't have a job and you have time to be there when the live is live, then great. Have at it. Knock your boots off. It's great. If you want to be for a live podcast recording, have at it. But for the rest of us who have jobs and responsibilities and we don't go to a place at a certain time to watch something being recorded live, we're going to listen later. And the people that listen later are being punished by people who don't edit. I was listening to one person who goes live all the time, and they don't blow their nose at all. They just sniffle in the mic. I'm not going to do it to you because it's gross. And they don't edit it out. Why? Because I'm keeping it real, yo. No. No. I've had people sneezing, coughing, burping on the mic, and we're just keeping it real. We're just live and drive, man. We're just going to let it go. No. Don't punish your audience by just live and post. Do some editing, clean it up a little bit for all that's sacred in podcasting. Remember, somebody's going to listen to this, and you're not as great as you think you are. Nobody is. I'm not. By no means am I. I have edited already many times in this episode, and I'm only at like 11 minutes roughly. Please, be kind. Edit your show. Take out the things that are distracting to your audience, because if you don't, your audience is going to maybe leave you. I know when I'm with my wife and I am about to say something stupid, do you know what I do? I edit myself. Do you know what's going to happen if I don't? You're not going to hear from Dave much because Dave's going to be in trouble. I'm going to get banned from my microphone, sent to my room, no snacks, because I didn't edit myself. We all need to edit ourselves. And if you don't believe me, the next time you're driving your car and somebody cuts you off, go ahead and don't edit yourself in that moment and see what happens. Right. So we all need to edit ourselves. Thank you, everybody, for proving me right. Please, if you're going to go live, again, no hate on the people who go live. When you take that live recording, which 5 people heard live, and you're going to put it out into the world where thousands of people are going to pay attention to it and listen, do some editing, please. Come on. Be kind. Edit your show. And rant over. One of the easiest ways for us to make our show better and to reduce the dependence, again, keyword everybody, dependence on ums and ahs, you knows, that kind of stuff, is to add in a pause. Ums and ahs are called filler words for a reason. They fill in the gaps while our brain is trying to reconnect with our mouth. We're trying to come up with the answer. Somebody asked us our favorite book title, and we're like, oh, dang it, I don't remember. Let me think. What is it? Oh, The Let Them Theory by Mel Robbins. That's the book. Yeah, gee, forgot all about it. We add in ums and ahs to fill in the silence because we feel awkward. And as an editor, I'm telling you, silence is way easier to edit than ums and ahs. I would like you as a guest, as a host, when you're not sure, be quiet. Leave a gap. Your host will love you for it because they can jump in there and see this great big giant space where there's a whole bunch of nothing and just simply make it smaller or remove it altogether. To have you throw in 35 ums where you're trying to remember what you had for dinner takes a lot of effort to make that sound good. So as we heard in that clip, and again, the link for that is in the show notes, your dependence on ums and ahs make you sound like you don't know what you're doing. So please be very intentional when you're speaking, and when you get ahead of yourself and your brain and your mouth loses connection, kind of like your Wi-Fi connection for your phone, and it's just spooling this little thing like, you're now offline. That's what's happening in your brain when you're talking faster than your brain is thinking. So slow down. Take a breath. Remember, your audience is a few words behind you, maybe even a sentence behind you at all times. And every time you take a break, they catch up to you, and now we're together again. You're going to keep talking and get further away from them. They're going to fall backwards, back. You take another break, and they catch up to you. Those pauses are nice because it's a reset for your listener to catch up. So don't be afraid and don't fill it with 35 ums. Just be quiet and allow your dependence on ums and ahs to fade away. Why is this important? The moment I invite you to come and speak as a keynote to my event in front of thousands of podcasters, and I invite you up to the stage, here you come, the person that has never addressed your ums and ahs. You stand in front of this great crowd. You're really nervous. You normally talk on a microphone by yourself in the basement with your pajama pants on, and now you're standing in front of all these people, and they're staring you down. And here you go. Hi, everybody. Welcome. Nice to be here. I'm really happy to, I'm happy to be here in front of, all of you. Right. So today I'm going to, talk about, things about, about things that, things about podcasting. Oh my gosh. Right? I just did a right. Edit point. That's exactly what I'm talking about. We fill in the gaps because we're trying to pull together our thoughts because either we didn't prepare at all for this episode. We just turned on the mic and went, hope for the best. We didn't do any research. We have no notes. We have no reference points. We're just flying by the seat of our pants. Authors call it pantsing. Podcasters pants as well. They just sit there with their pants, hopefully their pants on, and they just get out there and podcast hoping that something magical happens. If I just talk long enough, something good might pop out of my mouth. And that's where editing comes in, everyone. Your dependence on ums and ahs. Let's talk about the power of silence in the pause to help you become a better podcaster. Here we go. When I talk to clients around their podcast and how to make it better, we talk about a bunch of stuff like, making their audio better, making their room treatment better so that things sound better. They don't sound like they're in a museum or an airplane hangar. They sound close and clear and crisp on the microphone. So we talk about stuff like that. We talk about artwork. We talk about websites. We talk about growing your audience. But then we also talk about the benefits of improving your communication skills. And this is going to not only impact your podcast, it's going to impact your whole life. Mastering the art of the pause can really become one of your ninja moves as a podcaster. Simply by incorporating strategic silence spaces and pauses in your speech, you can reduce your reliance on filler words and create really a more engaging experience for your audience. They're going to connect with you better when you rely less and less on those ums and ahs. 4 benefits of pausing. You ready? Here we go. First, it eliminates your need for filler words. We talked about this. Pauses can replace your ums, your ahs, your so you knows, right, yeah, so, I love that. Pauses can help replace all of that dependence that you have on these things. It makes you more confident, and you, to the listener, feel like you're in control of yourself, your thoughts, the content, and where we're going, simply by reducing and eliminating as much as you can over time. It's a process. It's not going to happen in one day. Your reliance on ums and ahs. The second part, it improves your audience engagement. Short, quiet moments grab the attention of your listeners and helps you to create excitement for what's coming next. Dun, dun, dun. It also enhances understanding. As we talked about, pauses give listeners time to process information, especially for really complex topics where they have to think. Remember, your listeners, your viewers, are doing something else in the moment. Yep, even the YouTube viewers who watch YouTube podcasts, they're probably doing something else, like vacuuming, playing with the cat, taking out the garbage in the kitchen, and the TV's on in the other room. They're not even really watching at all times to your video podcast with all your fancy lights and backgrounds. They're listening. So anytime that you can pause, it gives your audience a chance to catch up with the content. It also adds emphasis. Strategic silences highlight important points, making them more memorable. Types of pauses for podcasters. Yeah, here we go. I'm going to share some of these with you. I got 3. First, there's the reflective pause. Now, this is a pause you do for yourself, outside of your podcast recording. It's where you take a moment to get into the zone and prepare yourself for recording your podcast. You didn't just run in here, rushed, stressed out. You still have your jacket on and, you're just spinning because you just got here and you're just, I hit record right away. Relax, pause, and allow yourself to kind of prepare your thoughts for what you're going to present to your audience so that you are in the right headspace before you start recording your podcast. Another type of pause that you can use when you're recording your show is an effect pause. Simply speaking, an effect pause is a brief 1 to 2 second pause that creates anticipation and really lets your words resonate with your audience. These pauses and adding in this space makes your listeners lean in a little bit because they're anticipating there's something happening here it's not like every other podcast I've ever heard, especially the ones where the people talk so fast that I can hardly keep up. I get every third or fourth word because they're so fast. But here's this guy on a podcast who is like really slowing it down. And I feel like he's in my head. The effect pause really works in your show. When you're watching television, and I just want you to be aware, there's times where they're doing that for you, where they're going to bring the whole show right down to this one spot, and they're talking to you. Wow. An effect pause is very effective. There's another type of pause that we can do too. It's a spontaneity pause. A spontaneity pause is a technique that makes your content feel fresh and thoughtful, even when it's really well rehearsed. So instead of slowing it right down to basically very, very slow content, just throwing in the occasional pause makes people just kind of lean in and go, hey, what's happening here? The spontaneity of it, it's not predicted, it's not predictive, people aren't anticipating it, it just comes out of nowhere. These pauses are going to help your show to sound different than all of the other shows that talk about what you talk about. So how do we implement pauses in our podcast? There's a few things you can try. When implementing pauses in your podcast, practice mindful pausing. Again, remember, take a moment to center yourself, get into your podcast and understand where you're going. Use pauses for transitions. Silence can signal a shift between topics. Much like paragraphs in writing, if you look at a book, it's not like all the words are just a big wall of words and there's no breaks. Pauses in a book make sense. Pauses in a movie make sense. Pauses in action make sense. Pauses in music make sense. So why not podcasting? And embrace the pregnant pause. Create suspense by pausing after a thought-provoking statement or surprising facts. What the? Really? Yeah. And vary the pause lengths. Mix in short, medium, long pauses to maintain a natural conversation flow. Don't be a robot. And speaking of robots, don't remove all your pauses from your podcast, because what's the point if you're just going to do all this great recording and then throw it into a tool that removes all the spaces, shoves all your words together, matches them up, and makes you sound like an auctioneer? Don't do that. And if you're going to use the tool, don't use it at full blast and remove every single pause. A pause like that is going to be gone in those tools, and your show's going to sound like everyone else who uses the same tool. So stop. Think about what you're doing and create the pauses that are going to help your audience to stay engaged. Pauses are not just empty space. I will say it again. Pauses are not just empty space. A pause is a powerful tool that can help elevate your podcast's quality and impact. By you mastering the art of the pause, you're not only going to reduce your reliance on filler words, but you're also going to create a more polished, professional, and a truly more engaging podcast that your listeners are going to love. And all it takes is one pause at a time. So go back and listen to your last episode, the one you did before you heard this podcast episode. And I want you to count, take like 5 minutes of your show, anywhere in the podcast, and count how many pauses you did and how many pauses you missed. Like, oh, it would have been a little bit more impactful if I had given a little space there. So how many pauses did I do in 5 minutes, and how many pauses did I miss? And give yourself your own rating. I can't do this for you. It's pretty subjective. It's your podcast. But if you're blowing through your content like a car that's going twice the speed posted on the speed limit sign, if you're flying through your content with no thought of the listener, if you're going live and you're like, screw the editing because I'm perfect and I'll just post it with all of my perfection, which we don't hear as listeners, please give yourself a chance to connect with your audience even more than you have in the past by being thoughtful, reducing your dependence on ums and ahs. And you're like, well, Dave, that's who I am. Dude, that's who I am. I'm an and ah person, and I just love being an and ah person. I listen to one person, they're like, I use the word right all the time, and I do it, and I don't care if you don't like it. Well, there's this thing called constant improvement where we're all trying to get a little bit better than we were yesterday. And to blatantly and arrogantly say that you don't think you need to be better, that's going to push people away from you. I just want you to know that. People are hungry to get better in life. And when they see you not striving to be better as a podcaster, makes people wonder about you a little bit. When you're out here saying, be better, do you, be strong, get better, improve, and you are not doing that. The moment I hear somebody say to anyone, do what I say, but don't do what I do, I'm done. I'm done. Because if it's not good enough advice for you, then it's not good enough advice for me, and I'm not going to implement it. And you're not my person. Because you got to drink your own Kool-Aid. You have to be able to understand that you're also a student, not just a teacher. You're also a student growing and trying to become better. So if you want to reduce your dependence, again, keyword underlined, highlighted, circled, a little smiley face beside it, the dependence on filler words, then please have a pause in your speech, whether you're a guest or a host, allowing the audience the opportunity to catch up. And you'll sound better, your audience will love you more, and your podcast will grow because you're doing the hard work behind the scenes to be a better you. And podcasting is going to make you a better you simply by reducing the amount of ums and ahs, you knows, reallys, thanks, all these things that you say that really don't need to be there. Silence is going to be your friend. So in the words of the song, hello, silence, my old friend. Yeah. Embrace the pause in your podcast and let me know how it goes. I'd love to hear what your thoughts are on this. Please, if you have a place to comment, I think on Spotify, you can leave a comment, Apple, whatever, wherever you are, leave me a comment on this episode. I'd love to hear your thoughts. And if you can't, on the app you're listening to, howtopodcast.ca, there's a speak pipe icon there. It's a voice recorder. Click the button on your phone, wherever you're at. Leave me a voice message. Tell me, are you a fan of the power of the pause? What about live recording and just never editing? I'd love to hear your thoughts. Thanks for listening. Thanks for being here. So I get asked quite often, usually at the end of a podcast, like right now, Dave, how can we help you? Like, how can we, as a listener, like, support the show? Can we come rake your leaves? Can we cut the grass? Shovel the snow? Watch your dog? Help you move? What can we do? Clean your dishes? Oh, that'd be interesting. Well, if you can't do that because, you're in Poland, maybe you can help us by supporting us with our Buy Me a Coffee. It's right there on our website. And, it just will help us to, A, stay fueled because, we drink a lot of coffee around here. And it helps the show. So if you want to help us, it's out of the goodness of your heart. I can tell you that listening to the podcast to this point, you've already helped us so much. But I do have people saying, Dave, I'd love to give back something small, even just to the show. Buy Me a Coffee link is on our website, howtopodcast.ca. And you can support the show that way. It would mean a lot to have you on our team supporting what we do here. If you find value in the show, then that's great. Share the show, tell somebody about it. And when somebody says, Dave, I want to start a podcast, who should I check out? Oh, you should go check out the How to Podcast series because of all the great co-hosts and all the things that happen here, the meetups, everything. And I would appreciate that. And then fill our cup once in a while if you can. But again, thank you so much for being here and supporting the How to Podcast series. Take care. Talk soon.